So what is up, YouTube? It's Michael here, and today I'm going to be telling you guys about the next potential best Wizard101 PvP school. Now, as you guys can see, I'm currently in the most powerful school in-game. I'm in the Ice School Tower, and yeah, Ice is really one of the best schools in Wizard101 right now. But as of lately, I've been seeing a school low-key come on the come up, and I'm going to tell you guys a bunch of different reasons on why I think this school will be the next best school, and I'm going to support my reasons by showing you guys evidence. So let's just jump right into this, okay? So you guys are never going to guess this school, but I already, even from the beginning of this video, I've already given you a hint of what the school is probably going to be. So this school has been one of the lower schools for about the longest. I mean, it was one of the best back in Magus and back in Legendary Age, and it kind of fell off around when Transcendent, you know, became a level cap, and then ever since then, it's never been really as good as what it formerly was, alright? And as of right now, I am in the Fire School, I believe the third best school in Wizard101 right now, maybe? Probably, speculating, I'm not entirely sure, but the third best school, I want to say, and I feel like the potential next best school really counters Fire School so fucking easily. It can do so much stuff to it. It doesn't even matter. Like, if a Fire faces this school, it's gonna be really difficult for them to beat them. Mostly because they have utility spells that can honestly smack the fuck out of Fire whenever they use something. And if you guys haven't figured out the school that I'm talking about already, it's it's freaking Myth, dude. Myth is the next potential best school in Wizard101 for millions of reasons. Alright, so Myth basically can counteract the Fire so fucking easily. If a Myth is first from a Fire, all they really have to do is keep up a shift up, and then they can shift their Burning Rampage so fucking quick. It can kill them just like that. And I feel like a Myth can counter on Ice by, you know, using overtimes and doing spells that can stun in a combination to get an Ice's health down, you know? Because Ice is used overtime as well, and Myths can shift that, or they can stun, or they can do a lot of things that, you know, a lot of schools can't do. And Myth is completely underrated right now, you guys. I mean, come on. For example, right? Nobody in PvP really has Myth Ward nowadays. Like, for level 120, 110 PvP, you're not going to see people with higher ranks have fucking Myth Ward. I mean, you're just not going to see it, because they're not going to expect to fight a Myth, and when they do fight a Myth, they're going to have less resist because they're going to have higher resist to balance Ice and Fire. So that already gives Myth a kind of an advantage against schools that are better than it, because they won't have as much resist to Myth than it normally should. Myth is also one of the best schools because Myth in itself has minions, you guys. Minions are really key to why Myth is so much better. Minions, you guys. Minions are the best. So for level 120 PvP, if a Myth gets a Shadow Pip first turn, they can honestly just Tower Shield, and then even if their opponent has a Tower Shield, they can even just go straight for a Baba Yaga, and then it'll still do mass amounts of damage. Do you know why? Because Myth is too freaking good. That's why. Look, the Baba Yaga minions are arguably the best minions in game, and they can do a lot of useful things. They can heal, they can hit, they can support. The different types of minions for Baba Yaga helps in so many ways, depending on the one that you get. And they all are good. None of them are just actually like trash. The only trash Myth minion that I want to say is the, let's see, do I have it? I don't have it. But the only trash minion for Myth is the Minotaur minion. Because the Minotaur minion only shields and tries to taunt to get your opponent to hit it, but taunt doesn't really do anything, so yeah. But the only bad Myth minion is the Minotaur minion. That's the only thing I want to say. But minions can be very useful nowadays, and I've been seeing a lot of max level characters carry a minion for anything. I've been seeing a lot of balanced characters have their minion. I've been seeing a lot of Fires use their minion, because minions are a really good way to win a match. Because if your opponent doesn't kill your minion can actually just freaking take off Tower Shield or hit or support you in any way possible, and then that can fuck up your opponent. If you have a minion out on your field, it's basically a 2v1. And for a Myth to have a spell that does a lot of damage and gives them a good-ass minion, I think that could put them on the map for a good PvP, period. I mean, not a lot of schools pack, you know, what are the spells called? Not a lot of schools nowadays pack spells that can hit all opponents. So the only schools that I could really see that carry a lot of spells like that are probably Storm and Death. But yeah, Storm and Death are the only real schools that carry a lot of attack all spells. But other than that, your opponent is going to have to end up wasting pips for them to kill your minion. And that could actually help Myth out by letting them be able to get their stun blocks off, or allow them to use different strategies as well. And I feel like this is kind of ironic because I don't even have a fucking Myth character. You know, if I could use a max Myth character, dude, I'd honestly be the best at Myth PvP. I'd do so many different types of strategies, and I feel like I'd kill. I'd destroy. You know, but Myth is underrated as well because Myth isn't even in, you know, the arena that much. You always see a fire, you always see a balance, you always see an ice. So if you get a Myth, people are going to be unexpected, and they're not going to have that many set shields to Myth, and they're not going to have set resist and dispels and everything that you really need. Myth is really good at level 60 and level 30 PvP, and I'm not entirely sure about Grandmaster because all I see is Grandmaster ices and balances and lives. But yeah, Myth is definitely one of the most underrated schools, and I think with a little bit of tweaks that they could put in for, you know, maybe the max level cap or 130 or 140, they could probably make Myth become on the map. The only downfalls that Myth really has is that it's too reliant on stunts, and that it doesn't get as much health as the other schools. But with a little bit more health and just a little bit of different utility spells, I think Myth could actually be pretty good. And I've already given you guys enough reasons on this, but what do you guys think about Myth? I mean, do you guys think that Myth is just going to be the worst school possible, or do you guys think that Myth is what might actually become on top? Because I'm giving you guys a lot of you know, solid facts. I mean, if you guys can debunk me, prove me wrong. I'm trying to look at the disadvantages that Myth has, and it really doesn't. I mean, have you guys seen spells like fucking Minotaur and Orthrus? Minotaur and Orthrus takes off your shields for the first round, and then it gives a bigger hit the second round. So that's just a fucking win-win, dude. Like, Myth has so many great spells that it can use to its advantage, you know? This 0 pip minion, dude, nobody likes to kill this minion for some reason, dude. I use this minion in the 1v1, dude. It takes them years to kill this minion. And if I use this minion at 4 pips, dude, it has 700 health. Who's gonna worry about trying to kill a minion with 700 health, especially at my level, dude? Myth is already pretty good. And, you know, at max level, it just gives them an extra bonus because not a lot of people are set to it. At my level and at level 60, a lot of people have balance, ice, and myth ward. Depends on their pet, but, you know, balance, myth, fire, pretty much the best schools at 30 and 60. But Myth is just really underrated, you know? And I think that spells like Athena, spells like Ninja Pig, spells like Keeper of the Flame, it just gives Myth so much more power than the other schools. And I actually would delete one of my characters to make a max Myth, even though I hate questing. I just might want to do that because Myth is just too freaking good. I wish I could do max Myth right now, because I would honestly be like, I'd honestly be like the next Nectar, dude. Like, he was funny and all. I'm never gonna be Nectar, right? But Nectar was not only funny, he was good at max Myth PvP. And spells like Calendar, spells like Mystic Frog, Earthquake, Aftershock. Myth has a lot of freaking good spells that everybody needs. Medusa stuns you for 2 freaking rounds, dude. What are you gonna do for 2 rounds? I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna fucking die if you're stunned for 2 rounds. You know what? Myth has spells like Shift, dude. Shift, what the fuck? You put an overtime on a Myth, dude, they're taking it right back, dude. Get that shit out of here, dude. You use White Rat Magician, dude. Look at this. You hit them, you get their tower shields off, right? And then you get a bubble, but it's only for 2 pips. So it's better than a green spider, and it has spells like Keeper of the Flame, which is basically a fucking brimstone. Yes, Keeper of the Flame is actually a brimstone. Like, it's too freaking good. And they have spells like Athena, which is actually like a lower pip, Abominable Weaver, and it's freaking beast, dude. Look at this beast. And the animation's also pretty cool as well. Spells like Orthrus, you know, hits 1, shields off, and then does mass damage on the rest. And then it has spells like Winter Moon, and it hits and stuns. It's all too good. And they have spells like Basilisk, you guys. They have spells that hits off the shields, and then it stuns them, and then it gives them an overtime. Dude, Myth has a lot of things that it can do to be really good. It's has its disadvantages, which is needed because we don't want Myth to be overpowered, but I don't want people to think that Myth is underpowered. And right now, Myth is definitely not underpowered because nobody expects to fight a Myth nowadays. So there you go. Spells like Yellow Troll, which is basically like an Ice Bats, but you know, it's just a Myth version of it. It's pretty darn good. Myths like to have bubble control, and Myths can do a lot of damage. People think just because if you put a stun block on, a Myth is, you know, going to lose the match, but Myths have been fighting people who use stun blocks since like the beginning of time. So they found ways to fix that and use spells like Orthoris and spells like, you know, Athena to make the stunning thing not so heavily impact them, you know. But if you don't stun block against a Myth, and that's just the fucking biggest L, dude. If they can stun you, then they can honestly win the game. But there are ways to beat Myth, and there's not a lot of ways to beat Myth. You know, I just think that Myth could potentially, with a few little bit of upgrades, be the best school. And I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that Myth could be the best school? Do you guys think Myth would be the worst school, or do you guys think that another school will be the best school coming up? I just want to know what you guys think. I had to put my opinion out there. And yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you guys stay lit, dude. Look at this freaking beast. Look at this beast. Yo, this guy jumps like he's a Super Saiyan, dude. Look at his form, dude. Look at his freaking form. Like, watch his hand. Ooh.